views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Let me be your lighthouse so I can show you the way. Let me be your shining light, I'll keep you from drifting away. I'm the one that makes you try when.
This is Patty Hunter of Patty's Page. My co-host is Mr. Terry Doran, and our special guest is Susan Baier. Welcome. She is the executive director for the Allen County Public Library in Fort Wayne, Indiana. This is all over the place, not just one main library. It's all of them, right?
Yes, correct. One main library and 13 branches, and then a facility where we have services like IT and collection development and technical services.
Whoa, that keeps you busy, eh?
It does.
Yeah.
So, where were you born and raised, my friend?
I was born and raised in Southern Illinois in a little village called Waltonville, population 400. I always joke that it's 399 now that I'm gone, and my family has been there for generations.
What
Wow.
prompted you to, what schools did you go to?
Well, for undergraduate, I went to McKendree College, which was a small liberal arts university in Southern Illinois. And then for graduate school in library science, I went to the University of Kentucky in Lexington.
When did you move to Fort Wayne?
I moved to Fort Wayne in February of 2021.
So you worked at other libraries throughout the nation?
I did. My first job out of library school was in the suburban Cincinnati area. And then I worked in Edwardsville, Illinois, which is a community outside of St. Louis, Missouri. And then for 15 years, I worked in California, both in Los Angeles and in the Bay Area. And then most recently, I was the director at the McCracken County Public Library in Paducah, Kentucky, before coming here to Fort Wayne.
So what part in California did you live? We lived in Santa Margarita.
Okay. I've lived in a few places. I lived in Long Beach. I lived in San Pedro. I lived in the Bay Area in San Jose and in Fremont.
Wow. You've been traveling. It's almost like you're being in the army, being transferred to different places to serve.
Well, a lot of it was following my husband's job.
Hmm.
But I found work wherever he was placed.
Terry,
Pardon?
you got a question?
Oh, I was going to ask you, Susan, what made you decide to become a librarian?
Well, Terry, that's a great question. And the short answer is that I like books and I like people and I like to connect them.
That would be the library.
That would be the library, yes. And I also love that it's a place where it's a true intersection of the community. You see everybody here and there's no expectation to buy anything. You can just simply be. And I love it that people come to us for many different reasons. They come obviously to get a book, to use a computer, to put on a show and Access Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
The summer they come to get cool, and in the winter they come to get warm, and those are all really important reasons to come together.
Absolutely. I think the library is the greatest invention the human brain has come up with.
Oh, I love that.
It's truly democratic.
Exactly.
I mean, you can be filthy rich and very poor and you get the same treatment. I love that. I
You're
can't think
absolutely
of
right.
any place where that's true.
I
And
agree, Terry. I always say that, you don't find places where people all come and shop at the same place or go to school at the same place or work at the same place or worship in the same place, but they're all coming to the library.
absolutely. And as you said, the library now is more than books.
Absolutely,
You
yes.
got computers, you got access Fort Wayne, you can check out a camera, you can go edit, you can do your own TV show. It's terrific. And Fort Wayne is blessed because you have a branch in about every neighborhood.
We do.
As you realize that transportation for a lot of people is a problem. So, for example, I live out north, getting downtown and would might be a problem for people.
Yeah.
But there's a DuPont branch right down the street from where I live. So it's just a wonderful institution. I'm glad you decided to do this. And I've heard good things about you. And well, what's your vision now as the new library, new director of the library?
That's a great question. And I love everything you have to say about the library. And a lot of what you say really aligns with my vision. It's to make the library even more accessible and available and welcoming to everyone. One step that we have done is to eliminate overdue fines for youth under 18. I hope to eventually expand that to where adults no longer pay overdue fines as well. It means that you would still be responsible for the cost of the book if it was lost or damaged, but if you just bring back a book late, there wouldn't be a charge to that. A lot of libraries across the country have already moved to that, and they found that it actually increases the use of the library because there's not the fear of being fined, there's not the stigma of paying a fine. When we implemented the changes for youth, it was in January of this year, and we've heard from so many families who say that the libraries can now be a part of their life again, that they previously weren't checking out books for fear of overdue fines, particularly families where they might have 2, 3, 4 kids. That could rack up really easily. And we had parents say to us, if it's between buying groceries and paying library fines, I'm going to buy groceries, and that's very understandable. So removing that barrier of fines brought the library back to families, and we're really excited about that.
Do you find
I was going to say that's terrific, really. I wasn't aware of that, so I applaud you.
Great.
when you came to our library, was it in the midst of COVID?
Yes, it was. I actually never set foot in Fort Wayne until I got the job, because the entire interview process was in the thick of COVID, so it was all virtual.
So when you got to our library, how did you be able to make sure you were safe? Because people were coming in, or you closed it down completely for several months because of this COVID? Or?
Well, when I started, we had just opened back up, although we had some restrictions. We weren't at full hours, and we were requiring masks at that time. That was still the state mandate, I believe. And then we weren't doing in-person programming. We were just doing virtual programming, like on Zoom, like we're doing right now. And then as, you know, the situation changed and vaccines became regularly and easily available, we were able to reduce some of those restrictions. The staff did an amazing job in a really challenging time. This is a word that's used a lot now, but they truly did pivot. They offered things like curbside service, and maybe you use curbside service during that time, but where we would bring books out to people in their car if they were unable or had concerns about coming in the library. And that's still occurring to this day. Even folks, maybe COVID isn't the concern, but the weather's bad, or they have young children strapped in car seats and can't unbuckle them and come in, or maybe there's mobility issues. Just drive up to one of our locations and park at a designated curbside spot, and we can bring materials to you.
So you have been, I take it, in the past 25, 30 years, you hold a master in library science.
I do.
And that was where?
University of Kentucky.
All right. And you have been a certified public library administrator.
That's correct, yes.
You're a member of the Rotary Club?
Yes, the Rotary Service Organization. It's an international service organization, and I belong to the chapter of downtown Fort Wayne.
And the Mary Penrose Wayne chapter are the Daughters of the American Revolution. Proud of you.
Yes, as you, I'm sure know, genealogy is a core part of what we do here at Allen County Public Library. Our Genealogy Center boasts the largest public library genealogy collection in the country. People truly come from all over the country to Fort Wayne to come to our Genealogy Center to do research. So the Daughters of the American Revolution is a really important group in this community, and they do a lot of their research and work and membership recruitment right here in our library.
You betcha. And also the music section. They have a big, large music section upstairs.
We do.
You don't have instruments, you just have videos and what?
Well, you know what, Patty, we actually have started getting instruments. Some of our libraries check out instruments to children, like kiddie instruments that you might see in schools. You know, yeah, exactly. And then we have a library of things at our Little Turtle branch, and they check out things like, I believe they have a ukulele.
Have I got a recorder for you? Remember those old
wow.
recorders? I still have it. When I was high. So, Terry, what would you like to ask?
Well, I know that Susan, you were on a Zoom or in a meeting where you spoke at Arts United. That Patty met you. Well, what was the purpose there? I mean, are you trying to take the library into the community, so to speak? I mean, we've been talking about the community coming to the library, which of course is fantastic. But are you trying in a way to get the library out, so to speak, and involved, like with the organization you're a member of, to do a little bit more?
Right. Well, the meeting I went to with the Regional Arts Council was about our facility master plan.
Okay.
And this is a plan that is available online at youracpl.org. You can read it in its 200-page entirety.
Whoa.
Plan to do a transformative facility project throughout Allen County. So that involves repairing and or replacing some of our buildings that have some wear and tear. It would also involve building a new library out in Huntertown. You mentioned the northern part of the county. As you well know, the northern part of the county is experiencing tremendous growth, and particularly Huntertown, and we currently do not have a library in Huntertown. So this plan, if it's able to come to fruition, would add an additional branch to Huntertown.
That would be number 14, wouldn't it?
Yes, that would be, we'd have 15 altogether. We'd have a main library and 14 branches.
So it's branching out, you might say.
You're doing some remodeling too of branches, is that correct?
We're hoping so, yes. For
The planning, yeah.
For instance, our Georgetown library, it is one of our busiest branches, and at 3 o'clock any given weekday, you're going to see sometimes up to 100 or more middle school and high school students there because of the proximity to so many schools. Kids go there after school, and that's wonderful because it's a safe and engaging place for them to go after school, to be with adults who care about them and want to see them succeed. But that means the building's kind of straining with all that use. So the plan, if it's able to come to fruition, would expand Georgetown so they would be better able to serve that population.
You deal with the sciences, do you? The globe room, whatever they call that, the globe in front of a big room in the back.
Oh, yes, the Maker Lab. With 3D printers and things like that, yes.
So you have to know how to do maker net. What do you call it?
Makerspace?
Yeah.
We have people to help you with that. We have maker guides who are there to lead you through that and help you learn how to use the machinery.
I've seen some of the stuff they make. It's beautiful,
It really is.
exquisite. And they're doing limbs now.
Prosthetic limbs, yes. I actually have, I'll show you. They made me this little cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
is that a?
This was printed on a 3D printer, this cat. They know I love cats, so they made
Oh, we like cats too.
this. Mhm.
Yeah, you have that in common for sure.
Well, we have the Abyssinian cat and a tuxedo critter, black and white.
Oh, okay, okay. I have a Russian blue.
Ah, she's a beautiful sheep.
A he,
Oh,
yes.
he
He was a
must be nice.
rescue. We adopted him when we think he was about 2.
Great.
So he had dogs. Anyway, no, he had a cat one time, didn't you? Siamese.
I had a Siamese, yes. His name was Alex. Great friend. I just wanted to say too, Susan, Patty and I have certainly utilized the library in our shows. You know, I've done quite a few shows in the auditorium and meeting rooms. Patty's done shows in Studio A. I've done shows there as well. Back in 1981, when Access Fort Wayne started, I did the first show, so I'm
Oh,
old.
wow.
Yeah, in
The very
1980.
first show.
And in the 70s, I did shows, and those shows resulted in the forming of public access television in Fort Wayne and being in the library. So I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
And
you should be. Not many public libraries have the kind of resources we do when it comes to public access radio and television. It's really remarkable that people have that forum and that outlet to come and express themselves and be artistic and share their views. And also it's true workforce development, because we have people who volunteer for Access Fort Wayne or have their own shows who go on and work in the industry, work in local news behind the camera because of the skills they learned in Access Fort Wayne.
Yeah, that's how I started out, camera
Mhm.
person. And Mr.
Yeah.
Bob Airy was the one that taught me how to be a producer and to expand. And 13 years later, I've had almost 640 shows once every weekend show and specials and all that. I owe that all to the library
Wow.
and to Bob Airy for being my mentor, and he put up with me. My aha moment.
well, that's great, Patty.
Thanks.
And Susan, I wanted to ask you, this is kind of I think it's very related to what we're talking about. I was just thinking in 1981, I did 52 shows that about did me in every Friday night, 8 o'clock live. Access Fort Wayne, taped them. There was also an audience. The public was invited. And I just reminded, one of those shows was about Warsaw, Indiana, and the title was Book Burning in the Heartland. Unfortunately, banning books is still a problem in America. What are your views on that as a librarian, banning books? Because it's very much in the news. I just saw a long list of banned books, and they were books that I cherish. I mean, Catcher in the Rye, Huckleberry Finn, 1984, To Kill a Mockingbird, Grapes of Wrath. I mean,
Those are classics.
that's very dangerous myself. I just wondering your view and how that fits into your view as a director of the library.
It's shocking to me that these conversations are still being had in 2022.
Yeah.
This is the forefront of so many communities right now, and I find it shocking and very sad.
Mhm.
So I say that the library is for everyone. but not everything in the library is going to be for every person. And that's okay. That's the beauty of the
No
library.
censorship or anything like that unless it actually would harm another person, you mean?
I mean, we think people are able to make those decisions for themselves, and we think that parents are the best judge of what their child should or should not be reading. We don't think that one person should make that decision for a community of children. What works in one family may not work in another family, and that is absolutely okay. With children's books particularly, I think, and I was a children's librarian for years,
Yeah.
children's books provide mirrors where you can read and identify with your own experience, and they provide windows where it can give you a look into communities and societies and worlds that are different than yours. And both of those perspectives are really, really important. I remember when I was a kid, I grew up, I'm 50 years old, I turned 50 this year. So I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and I was a big reader growing up. And one of my favorite authors was Judy Blume. Judy Blume,
Oh,
Yeah.
right, who is still very popular to this day. And a lot of her books were based in New York City. She wrote about children of color. She wrote about Jewish children. And I was growing up in the middle of the cornfield in Southern Illinois. I had never been to New York City. My group and my family, they were pretty homogenous. And reading Judy Blume, I learned about different kinds of people and different kinds of communities. And that was really my exposure for many years until I was able to get out on my own and travel and meet people. And just to have that taken away from children, from anybody, really, really bothers me.
and yeah, I know. How far do you go with censorship? How far do you not go?
Right. I mean, I don't think book banning doesn't hold the test of time, right? I mean, you know, it's just not, it's not a good look. I don't think that's what this community wants to be. You know, again, I respect that not every book is for every person.
You serve on the board of Visit Fort Wayne, the Literacy Alliance, and the Friends of the Lincoln Collection.
I do.
Let's talk about that.
Well, in my role as director, community involvement and support is very important. And I also like to, you know, have those partnerships that I think can benefit both the library and the other agencies. So I'm involved on the Visit Fort Wayne board. Their office is just across the street from where I'm sitting right now. So it's a group of community leaders in the hospitality and tourism and attraction business to discuss the best way to make sure that travelers, conventions, and other people around the country and the world know about Fort Wayne and come here. So I enjoy working on that a lot. And my role there really is to bring the perspective of the library, and particularly the Genealogy Center, and how that is a tourist attraction that people.
That's a real big one.
It is. It is.
And
then I love my work with the Literacy Alliance. Literacy Alliance is a nonprofit that supports adult literacy and adults earning their high school equivalency diploma, and adults with English language learning. And I am a proponent of lifelong learning. And I also understand that for some folks, they need a second or a third chance. And maybe there were circumstances beyond their control, barriers to prevent them from graduating high school at a traditional time. And it's never too late to start again.
you also have audio books, which is great for people who have hard seeing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because some people are dyslexic, like me. I try to understand what the book is about, but then my mind says, oh boy. So when I get an audio book of that particular item, then it sinks in.
Yeah, people learn in different ways. You're absolutely right. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. I listen to audiobooks. We have apps that you can use for free with your library card, so I can get an book on my phone. And then we also have the audio reading service, which is out of our DeSalle location, where we have volunteers come in who read the Journal Gazette, who read all kinds of other newspapers and magazines, and even things like ads, in the paper. So
Oh,
people,
they tape it?
I'm sorry?
They tape the people who come in?
Yep, they tape it and then they air it. You can listen to it on the radio. You can listen to it on your Alexa device, and you can also listen to it on the web. And we have listeners from all over the world.
Hey. And you have events like art, a room you can have art to show, or history or something. What's that room called? I forgot.
We have a gallery, the Kroll Gallery. Mm-hmm.
Yes. I've always liked going there, seeing people's works. Yeah. And learn history. We did one on Lincoln.
Correct. Yes. We have the Roland Center for Lincoln Research, where we have just some remarkable artifacts and books and documents reflecting Lincoln's boyhood through presidency.
I have a question. With River Drums that we put on, Terry and I, we have put this event in film, and we put it through Access Fort Wayne TV.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what I love about the library. We do our own thing. We can show it on air.
Yeah.
It's streamed online at the same time it's shown. Local cable TV. I think that's great.
It is.
Learning. Yes, Terry, we got 1 minute.
Well, I just want to say, Susan, I'm glad to meet you. I'm really glad to hear your voice, so to speak, on different subjects, your vision. And what you said about, I know it's a little bit controversial, but what you said about banning books was not banning books was beautiful. Really well said. Thank you.
Thank you.
So what would you like to say to my audience, Susan?
Well, thank you for watching and listening. And if you haven't visited the library lately, please come and take a look and see what we're all about. You may not have seen our Roland Center for Lincoln Research here at the main library downtown. It just opened in January. So check us out. You can find out more at acpl.info.
There you go. This is Patty Hunter, Patty's Page. Thank you, my co-host, Terrence Doran, or Terry, and Susan Baier, Executive Director of all the libraries here in Fort Wayne and Allen. So God bless you, girl. We'll see you next week, and have a great day.
Godspeed, my love, until we meet again. You're always in my heart and every dream. Don't let this time apart give in to all our fears. God will keep us close from up above. So until we meet again, Godspeed, my love. God is with us always.